Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today our guest is Kevin Bull. Thanks for being on the show, Kevin.
Hey, thank you, Whitney. Appreciate it. Good to be
I'm
here.
Looking forward to this, Kevin. And Kevin is the co-founder of InvestTex, a digital marketing agency that specializes in raising investment capital for established real estate developers, game changers, changing startups, and alternative energy companies. He's co-founder of Atlantis Downtown, a co-working space in Eugene, Oregon that has a diverse and passionate community of freelancers, startups, and small businesses. Atlantis Downtown was recently ranked 4th best co-working space in Oregon. Kevin, thank you again for your time. Looking forward to just really diving into InvestTex and what that is and really what that does for our operators that are in the commercial real estate business.
Great. Yeah. And quick note, Atlantis, we've moved on from that, but it was a great experience. And, one of my same co-founders is my co-founder in InvestTex as well. So that's was fun as it was, kind of a WeWorking type co-working space that led to a lot of opportunities.
Nice. So tell me about InvestTex and what that, does for operators in our space.
Yeah. So InvestTex is a modern investor relations firm. We work with real estate developers, syndicators, and fund managers to help them build their network of investors. So we work on behalf of our clients and help them build out their own investment platforms for them to gain new relationships with investors and build their own network. Different than how like other platforms work, where you submit a project and that project might get listed up on that platform and then you get the investors. We're building a platform on your behalf for you to build your own network, grow your business, and continue to have more and more investors for the next project too.
Okay. So tell me what that looks like helping, I'm getting started and I don't have much network yet. But I'm, I've done a deal or two, or maybe I haven't. But what does that look like to help me to get my network started?
Yeah, so we work closely with you on figuring out, what are your values, what are your strategies, what makes you different, really getting down to the core of your strategy. And then from there, we build out an investment website for you. One page is specific for each investment opportunity, which we call our project pages. This is under 506C public solicitation. Then we go out and we build content for you. So, that can be videos, presentations, podcasts, webinars. We put together what we think is the best fit for you. How do you like communicate? Are you a people person? Are you good on video? And then from there, we put together the most likely investors to invest in your project. And that can take different forms as well, depending on what type of project you're working on. We have what we call our local based strategy. And so local bases will draw a radius around your project, and we can get the 5,000 and 10,000 closest high net worth individuals that have invested into real estate before, and we bring them to a monthly educational event that you put on. That's kind of the old school traditional approach there. Then also we'll do webinars with our listening keywords. And so if you have a specific niche like opportunity zones or 1031 exchange, or let's say you do ground up development in Portland, Oregon, those kinds of things, then we can use those listening keywords to bring people in when they search or use those terms online, bring them to your webinars and help you grow your webinar base as well. From there, we also have kind of more of an institutional approach. So if you're doing larger deals, we have some databases of funds and family offices that we can help you reach out to, still on your behalf, but we'll help you put together your messaging and help you approach them in a way to build relationships with them. So that's kind of our step-by-step process, how we piece it all together. We also build out a CRM and kind of email newsletter to stay top of mind. Also couple in some ads most of the time to be able to stay in front of those investors and keep them engaged.
Okay. So, I mean, there's a lot happening right there. You know, I know I've gone through that process, and it's a lot. There's a lot of, or so many working pieces, you know, in the background, especially podcasts, especially doing it daily. But you know, if you're doing webinars or whatever kind of content you're creating, there's a lot of pieces to that most people don't ever realize. But you talked about, you know, y'all are going to help with the website. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to help with the website, to the content, to the CRM. So important. Tell me some things about, like, you know, is there a specific CRM that you all help set up or that you recommend?
Yeah, so we actually work off of Zoho, and
Okay.
we use it's a very simple base platform that allows for a lot of customization. And so, you know, people can get off and running with it within a couple of days, and you know, we can help them with that process. And then as we go and we want to integrate different features into the website and integrate different data flows and customer lifecycle journeys, you know, we can do that within the flexibility of the platform. So it gives us both the simple user interface and then the ability to make it more complex and effective as we build it out.
Okay. You know, you talked about like helping us with that relationship building process. It's so important. I mean, it's so important, you know, our investor relations but can you help walk us through that a little bit, or maybe some things that you all help people do to really help build that relationship?
Yeah, so a lot of people see 506C and they think crowdfunding. And, you know, we realize that people don't click an ad and invest $50,000 or whatever your minimum amount is. So it's much more about getting in front of those right investors and bringing them to meet with you face to face, or to have, you know, hour-long phone calls where you can make that connection and you can build that relationship. You know, really, we're about opening the door, and you know, our client needs to walk through it. So, you know, we can't make the sell for them. You know, we're the investor relations, the marketing, lead generation, relationship building. And, you know, really we're looking to find who's that right investor that would be interested in their type of projects, you know, who would relate to them personally, and then getting them in front of them and helping them with that process.
Okay. So, you know, give me a couple tips on getting in front of the right investor, like you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's through conversation with the client from the beginning. So, you know, figuring out what their strategy is. If they're locally based in an area, a lot of investors like to invest in local projects. You know, they know their own town, they know where the hot spots are, they understand it. And then another good thing about real estate too is, you know, it's a physical asset. People want to drive up to it, they want to touch it, they want to feel it, they want to see it. And so a lot of times a local approach makes sense if it's a local developer. And then also with the national approach, it's more of if they have a certain niche and they're developing outside of that one area, then they can make sense to, you know, maybe they might have investors from New York, even if they're developing in Kansas City. You know, you still get that flexibility because there's something attractive about the strategy itself, not necessarily the local area that they're using. So we take different approaches depending on who the client is and who they're looking, who we think would be the best fit.
What are some of the bigger difficulties that you see operators have that you're working with, you know, in making this happen, increasing their network?
Yeah, so a lot of syndicators, fund managers and stuff, they have, you know, their friends and family, and then they have maybe people they met at the country club and a few people they met at conferences and stuff. And they have a hard time getting outside that original bubble of 4 or 5 investors. And so we're really here to help them build above that and to continue to grow their network. You know, we put in the system and the strategies and really the engine and the gasoline to keep that going forward. When they've already figured, you know, thought they've reached their threshold and don't know where to go from there, you know, we help add in some extra firepower and help them grow their network.
Nice. No, it's so important. And when you're getting started and getting outside that network or getting people, like just getting in front of people initially is difficult, right?
Right. You just looking around town, you're like, where do I find people that might want to invest? There's not always a certain club that you can join, depending on where you're at. And sometimes those clubs, you know, they're not always the people that are actually the investors. When you're looking at passive investors locally, they're usually high net worth individuals that want to be limited partners, and they're not really involved in real estate themselves. That's why they want to invest with a syndicator, is they want to invest with somebody that knows the business better than they do. So they might be, you know, doctors, lawyers, business owners, people that are high net worth, not necessarily going to these real estate events, but they do want to be active in real estate because they understand the benefits and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not always, they're not always where you think they are. And then it takes so much relationship building time, before people are usually going to invest with you. A lot of times it's not normally right away for everybody. But what about any other ways that you all are helping people get outside their network that we haven't discussed, as far as, that local community, or, that seems like maybe the obvious thing, or local meetup or something like that? Any other ways that you're helping people to get outside of that?
So really, it's about having our client host their own local meetups, and so having them be that figure that's, the term is thrown around a lot, but thought leader, within their local community, within their individual strategy, and bringing investors to them, once a week. We call them investor roundtable events. Usually 10 to 12 people come, maybe wine and cheese, maybe they're meeting at a local bar for happy hour, or the office, wherever you want the setting to be. But it's a relaxed group conversation that syndicator or fund manager can have, engaging relationship building, and they can help educate people, and that education leads to more questions and more trust. And, usually after that, they meet up with, 2, 3, or 4 the next week for coffee or a drink. And then they continue that conversation, and continue down the road of feeling more and more comfortable with each other and being able to partner up on some deals.
Do you all push running ads very often? I would briefly mentioned it earlier, but like, online ads.
We do use ads as part of our strategy. It's not core to it. It really allows you to stay in front of those people and to reach them in multiple ways. And so the ads, stay top. It allows your company and you to stay top of the mind with those investors. We also do things like retargeting ads, where once somebody visits your website, you're now following them around with a series of ads to kind of bring them back to your website and through the funnel. There's some things like lookalike audiences where, let's say you have 10 investors already. We can look at those 10 investors and upload their information online, and then it creates a lookalike. So it expands that to thousands of investors that match on certain data points and are similar to your existing audience. And so there's ways that we use ads to reach, to stay in front of people that are already interested, and then also reach new people that may be interested. But we know people don't just click an ad and then invest the next day. It's more about getting them engaged. To touch on that a little bit more too, once we bring them back to the website, it's all about creating lead magnets and having downloadable content on the website, or having events or webinars that they can register to. You have to give somebody something of value for them to be able to give you their contact information, which is value as well. So you have to give them something that they can digest and they can understand. And that helps in multiple ways. That then educates them, makes them feel more comfortable, shows you as that thought leader, and vice versa.
Give us some tips. So many great tips already right there alone. It was really good. But tell me about, this lead magnet. Tell me, or help us to create that lead magnet that somebody's going to want. So they do submit their information.
So a lead magnet is usually a pretty large piece of content, like an ebook that has a wide range of information. And it's kind of like a library of a lot of the content that we create all in one piece. And then we take pieces of that and kind of use that in our ads and in our educational events. And so people get pieces of the information and they're curious to learn more. And then you have this full-on ebook that they can sit down and look through for 15 to 20 minutes and really digest it in their own time.
Okay. And then, what about, so somebody sees our lead magnet, they want it. Maybe you could walk us through, the nurturing process after they've signed up on the website a little bit more in detail.
Right. So once they sign up, usually have kind of an auto reply where it's, thanks for downloading. If you want more information, here's a link to our educational resources on our website, and give them more stuff to be able to chew on. And then, once you get back to your desk, they're in your CRM and you can follow up with them personally. That the quicker you can get to them personally, the better results you're going to have. People know what a templated email response is, and most people don't reply to them. But we also, we will have them in a drip campaign where, we're sending them more and more kind of newsletters and contents and articles. Third-party articles work well too, just other proof that shows that your strategy is the right thing to do, and that, ways to just stay in front of people. And, but it really comes down to that personal conversation. You want to get on that phone with them. You want to meet with them in person. You want to walk through the properties together. You want to take that relationship to the next level. So the marketing is all about continuing to build that relationship and assist our clients in that.
Yeah. All right, Kevin. Well, just a few last things before we run out of time, or a few more questions. But tell me a way that you've recently improved your business that we could apply to ours.
Yeah, so a recent improvement is really streamlining things on our end, making it a much more of a fine-tuned system. And so, always with everybody we work with, just continuing to narrow in on what's working and what's not. Marketing is kind of a scientific method. You test your hypothesis, you have different variables out there, and you start to narrow in on what's working and continuing to narrow in on it. So, it's an ongoing game of improving it and making it more effective. Everything from the ad strategy to the messaging to the content that you're using, and continuing to improve in that with each client.
So doing this for numerous people, working with numerous operators, helping them grow their network and understanding marketing and different aspects of marketing, what have you seen is the top way to connect with the most investors?
So, most investors is not always the best thing, right? So, there's
right.
Also limited high quality, high net worth investors. And so sometimes it's about building a relationship with a few that have a lot of trust in you and want to,
right.
Put forward a lot of money. So it's how we quantify isn't necessarily always by dollar amount or people you meet. It's more of just kind of feedback from our clients on how they feel about their businesses growing, and that, if they want to ramp up the pace of how fast it's growing, or they want to dial it back down, just making sure that they're happy with the conversations they're having and the people they're meeting and the way their business is growing. But there's several different strategies and different clients. And so it just depends on who we're working with and what makes sense.
If you had to pick one, what would it be? Like ads or a meetup or a podcast or a webinar? Or is there one thing that you had to say, okay, if I could only do one, this is it?
I think the local based strategy is really the tried and true, kind of traditional approach that people have been giving, these presentations to high net worth individuals about investments for a long time. And, people they're comfortable with it, and they understand, okay, I'm going to go there. I'm going to learn something. I'm going to meet this guy that knows what he's talking about in his specific field. And it's a pretty surefire way of meeting, 10 people a month and getting in front of them and, seeing where those conversations lead.
So what's the number one thing that's contributed to your success, Kevin?
Just continuing to move forward and continuing to learn as going. I think life's all about continuing to improve your craft and learn about different areas of it that you can bring in different influences, and just having that mentality of being a lifelong learner.
And how do you like to give back?
So I like to give back through friends and family, always taking care of the people closest next to me. I'm looking to get involved with more kind of organizations and such, but I think, taking care of the close circle is always first, making sure everyone's happy and living good.
Kevin, thank you again so much for your time today. I appreciate you walking through just some of the marketing techniques that you all are using and how you're helping lots of people in our industry to grow their brand and their network. And it's such a big part of the business and nurturing those relationships with investors. So I appreciate your time. Tell the listeners, though, how they can get in touch with you and learn more about you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so investex.com. Also, my email is kevin@investex, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Anything works.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.